Today, you'll discover the hidden connection between your inner and outer reality that can transform how you experience life. This connection between your inner and outer worlds isn't just coincidence. It's a key to unlocking deeper self-awareness and taking control of how you experience life. Today, you'll discover how to read these mirrors and transform your relationship with yourself and your reality. For centuries, throughout different cultures and wisdom traditions, this deep connection has been captured in two powerful phrases. As above, so below, suggesting a link between the cosmos and earthly realm, and the equally powerful, as within, so without, pointing directly to the relationship between your inner state and outer life. By the end of our journey, you'll have three specific tools to interpret your external experiences as direct feedback about your inner landscape. This awareness will reveal hidden patterns and beliefs that, once recognized, allow you to break recurring cycles and consciously reshape your life experience. Here's our first key insight. The external circumstances of your life are not just happening to you, they're happening through you and from you. Your inner world shapes how you perceive and respond to everything, creating a continuous feedback loop between what's within and what's without. Our journey treats these ancient principles as a dynamic lens, a way of perceiving reality that offers remarkable insights. We'll build bridges between this wisdom and contemporary understanding using key concepts from Jungian psychology and compelling parallels from natural patterns like fractals. By journeying through this perspective, you won't just understand these phrases historically. You'll gain three practical methods for reading your life's mirror. Pattern: journaling to map inner-outer connections. Shadow reflection techniques to transform emotional triggers into self-discovery. Nature observation practices to recognize universal patterns in your personal experience. And the most powerful revelation, the part of this mirror principle that most people miss entirely, the key that transforms it from philosophy into life-changing practice. If this intuition about inner-outer mirroring is so universal, where did this specific powerful phrasing originate? Our journey takes us back to a legendary, almost mythical source, the Emerald Tablet, known in Latin as the Tabula Smaragdina. This short, cryptic text has captivated philosophers, alchemists, and mystics for millennia. Its authorship is traditionally attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a revered figure blending the Egyptian god Thoth, deity of wisdom, and the Greek god Hermes, messenger of the gods. The earliest known written references appear in Arabic alchemical texts from the 8th and 9th centuries. These include works by Jabir ibn Hayyan, also known as Geber, and the mysterious Book of the Secret of Secrets, Kitab Sir al-Asrar. Remarkably, this principle of correspondence appears independently across diverse cultures. Taoist philosophy recognizes harmony between human and cosmic patterns. Many indigenous traditions see humans as reflections of natural systems. This cross-cultural presence suggests these principles tap into a fundamental human intuition about our relationship with the world. Why does this matter to you? Because unlike many ancient teachings that remained theoretical, this principle was actively used for thousands of years as a practical framework for understanding reality across cultures, suggesting it taps into something fundamental about human experience, something you can harness today. At the heart of this tablet lies our foundational phrase. One translation from Sir Isaac Newton himself reads, "That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below to do the miracles of one only thing." This articulates a principle of correspondence, a mirroring between different scales of reality. The microcosm, the small world representing humanity, reflects the macrocosm, the universe or cosmic realm. But here's where it becomes immediately relevant to your daily experience. This principle also implies, as within, so without. Your inner state, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, is dynamically mirrored in your outer life, experiences, relationships, circumstances. Have you noticed how your perception of the world shifts dramatically depending on your internal state? That's this principle in action. Think for a moment. Have you ever experienced synchronicities or meaningful coincidences that seem to reflect exactly what you were thinking or feeling? This resonance across traditions is remarkable. In Hermetic philosophy, it's a central tenet. In alchemy, it connected material transformation with spiritual growth. Astrology used it to link celestial movements to human experience. Even Paracelsus, a physician, developed his doctrine of signatures, proposing that a plant's form mirrored the body part it could heal. Each tradition interpreted this mirroring principle through its own lens, but all recognized the same fundamental pattern we're exploring. That connection between inner and outer reality you've likely experienced yourself. And we're now moving toward understanding why this happens psychologically. Now, hearing about ancient tablets and esoteric traditions might sound like stepping into purely mystical territory. And it's true, throughout history this principle has been used in metaphysical ways. But our approach is different. We're not asking you to accept this as dogma or mystical law. Instead, we're exploring its remarkable potential as a perceptual lens, a framework for interpreting your life experiences in a way that enhances self-awareness and personal growth. In fact, modern psychology has discovered mechanisms that explain exactly how this inner-outer mirroring works. And they reveal something fascinating about your unconscious mind that most people never realize. So we've explored these ancient principles, as above, so below, and as within, so without. But how do we truly bridge them to our contemporary understanding? How can we apply that crucial connection between your inner life and outer experience? Imagine walking into a room and immediately feeling irritated by someone you barely know. Nothing they've done clearly justifies this strong reaction, yet there it is, an unmistakable emotional response. What's really happening? This is where modern psychology offers a remarkable bridge. Carl Jung mapped the human psyche beyond just our conscious thoughts, revealing the vast realm of the unconscious. Within this unconscious is what he called the shadow, those aspects of ourselves, desires, emotions, traits, that our conscious ego finds unacceptable or threatening and thus pushes out of awareness. Crucially, the shadow isn't just negative. It contains undeveloped positive qualities too, creativity, confidence, joy, that we may have disowned. Now imagine your psyche as an iceberg. Your conscious mind is the small portion above water, while the massive shadow remains submerged below. Recent neuroscience research supports this model. Studies on implicit bias and affective neuroscience show that our brains process far more information unconsciously than consciously, with unconscious processes significantly influencing perception and behavior without our awareness. What happens to these submerged parts? Jung identified a key mechanism: projection. Your unconscious shadow aspects get projected onto the world around you and perceived in others. Contemporary cognitive psychology calls this predictive processing. Put simply, your brain doesn't passively receive information about reality. Instead, it actively generates predictions based on your internal models and expectations. These predictions then color your perception of the external world, essentially projecting your inner landscape outward. This is as within, so without, in action. That person who irritates you for being so arrogant? You might be unconsciously recognizing a disowned aspect of your own healthy assertiveness or confidence that you've suppressed. Your external perceptions, especially those triggering strong emotions, often act as direct psychological mirrors, reflecting your own hidden inner landscape. As Jung himself noted, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The external trigger becomes your pathway to inner awareness. Let me ask you, have you noticed recurring patterns in your life? Perhaps similar relationship dynamics, work situations, or obstacles that seem to follow you despite changing external circumstances. We can broaden this mirroring beyond interpersonal projection. Through the as within, so without lens, these persistent external patterns often reflect underlying, unconscious beliefs, fears, or unresolved dynamics within you. Research in mind-body medicine demonstrates a powerful physical manifestation of this principle. Your thoughts and emotions aren't just psychological experiences, they trigger measurable physical responses in your body. Chronic stress and negative thought patterns directly impact your immune function and inflammatory responses. This is a scientifically verified example of as within, so without, where your inner state directly shapes your physical reality. This understanding is critically different from simplistic manifestation ideas suggesting you just wish for something to appear. It's much more profound. Your inner psychological landscape, your beliefs, fears, and especially unacknowledged shadow, shapes how you perceive, interpret, and interact with the world, creating powerful feedback loops. For instance, an unconscious belief that people can't be trusted doesn't magically attract untrustworthy people. Instead, it creates hypervigilance for signs of betrayal, misinterpretation of neutral actions as threatening, and behaviors that actually push others away, confirming the original belief. The inner creates the experience of the outer through perception and interaction. This psychological mechanism explains why the mirror principle has appeared across diverse wisdom traditions. It reflects a fundamental aspect of how human consciousness operates. Let's turn to another powerful bridge, one from the observable natural world, to help us grasp the as above, so below aspect, the fascinating realm of fractals. Have you ever noticed how the branching pattern of a tree looks remarkably similar to the branching of blood vessels in your lungs, or even the branching pattern of lightning in the sky? Fractals are geometric patterns characterized by self-similarity across different scales. The basic shape of the whole repeats within its parts, often infinitely, as you zoom closer. Look at the structure of a snowflake, a Romanesco broccoli, coastlines, or even the distribution of galaxies. The same patterns emerge at vastly different scales. This principle of self-similarity across scales is more than just a visual curiosity. It represents a fundamental organizing principle found throughout nature that scientists call scale invariance. It's a property where similar patterns recur, regardless of the scale of observation, creating an elegant bridge between microscopic and macroscopic systems. Remarkably, these patterns extend beyond just physical structures into human systems. Neural networks in your brain branch like river deltas. Social networks form clusters resembling molecular structures. Even belief systems and psychological patterns demonstrate self-similar qualities. Core emotional patterns established in childhood often repeat at larger scales throughout adult relationships. This provides a visible, tangible metaphor for as above, so below, how a fundamental pattern manifests across different scales, linking the micro to the macro. Just as these natural patterns repeat at different levels, the patterns within your psyche repeat in your external experiences. When you recognize these corresponding patterns between your inner and outer worlds, you gain a powerful vantage point. Rather than seeing external events as random or happening to you, you can read them as feedback about your internal landscape, creating opportunity for growth and conscious change. This perspective aligns with systems theory, which recognizes that patterns at one level of a system often reflect and influence patterns at other levels. At this point, you might be thinking, this sounds interesting, but is there actual evidence for this inner-outer connection, or is it just confirmation bias? It's a fair question. We're approaching this primarily as a psychological framework, a way of interpreting experience that yields practical insight, not as a claim about metaphysical causation. The practical value is clear. By examining the relationship between inner states and outer experiences, you develop greater self-awareness and cognitive flexibility. This approach aligns with evidence-based therapeutic modalities like cognitive behavioral therapy, which recognizes how internal beliefs shape our interpretation of and response to external events. Consider this a specialized form of mindfulness practice, not just observing your thoughts, but observing the relationship between your inner landscape and your external experience. This correspondence awareness extends traditional mindfulness in a way that makes the unconscious conscious. Take a moment now. Consider a recent situation or a recurring pattern in your life that triggered a strong emotional response, perhaps irritation, fear, judgment, or even excessive admiration. Using the as within, so without lens we've explored, what unacknowledged feeling, belief, or shadow aspect within you might this external experience be mirroring? As you reflect, notice what arises without judgment. This awareness alone, simply recognizing the potential connection between your reaction and your inner landscape, is the beginning of transformation. Now we arrive at the most powerful part of our journey, translating understanding into practical transformation. Imagine being able to read the mirror of your life with clarity, transforming even difficult experiences into pathways for growth and greater awareness. These next tools will show you exactly how. Let me guide you through this practice with 3 levels of mastery. Level 1. Simple observation. Beginner. Create 2 columns: outer events patterns and inner state beliefs. In the left column, record significant external events. In the right, reflect on your concurrent inner state. Just observe without judgment. For instance, on the left you might write, meeting with boss. Felt overlooked when my ideas weren't acknowledged. On the right, explore. Felt small, invisible. Underlying belief surfaced. My contributions aren't valuable enough to be recognized. Level 2. Pattern recognition. Intermediate. After collecting at least 10 entries, review your journal looking for recurring themes. Circle repeated external circumstances in one color. Underline recurring internal states in another color. Draw connecting lines between related patterns. Level 3. Active integration. Advanced. Add a 3rd column for integration insights and actions. For each recognized pattern, note one specific action to shift your inner state or one new perspective to explore. Track how these deliberate shifts affect your outer experience over time. By consistently tracking both sides, you'll begin to see remarkable connections. One person using this method discovered that whenever they felt financially stressed, outer, they also held a rigid belief that asking for help shows weakness, inner. This awareness allowed them to recognize how this inner belief was creating their isolation in financial struggles, opening the door to new supportive relationships and resources. Remember, as Aristotle noted, we are what we repeatedly do. Your outer patterns are the accumulated reflection of your inner habits of thought and feeling. This journal makes that connection explicit and actionable. Before we move to our next tool, take a quick mental inventory. What recurring external situation in your life would you most want to understand through this inner-outer mirror perspective? Keep this situation in mind as we explore our next technique. Our second tool builds directly on Jung's concept of projection, using your emotional reactions as powerful gateways to self-discovery. Think about the last time someone really got under your skin. Perhaps a co-worker you find unbearably arrogant, a family member whose neediness exhausts you, or a friend whose success fills you with uncomfortable envy. These intense reactions are gold mines for self-awareness. The next time you feel strongly triggered, experiencing intense irritation, judgment, envy, or even excessive admiration, pause. Take a breath and momentarily shift focus from the external trigger to your own reaction. Ask yourself, what specific quality in this person or situation is provoking such a strong reaction in me? Where might a version of that same quality exist within me? Perhaps hidden, denied, or expressed differently. If I'm judging harshly, what inner fear or unmet need might this judgment be protecting? This practice transforms emotional triggers from frustrations into illuminating messengers from your unconscious. Consider these examples. That irritation with someone's arrogance might reveal your own denied desire to be more confident and visible. Your judgment of someone's neediness could reflect your own discomfort with vulnerability and unmet needs for connection. That puzzling fascination with someone's creative freedom might reveal a part of yourself yearning for greater self-expression and authenticity that you've suppressed to meet external expectations. By recognizing this projection, you reclaim your own creative potential rather than just admiring it in others. Each strong reaction becomes an opportunity to reclaim disowned parts of yourself, leading to greater wholeness, authentic self-expression, and significantly reduced emotional reactivity. As Jung observed, the psychological rule says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. Your triggers are not random. They're precise maps to your inner landscape. Have you ever felt a profound sense of perspective and peace while gazing at the stars or watching ocean waves? There's a reason for this psychological shift that connects directly to our as above, so below principle. Our final tool connects these universal patterns back to your personal experience through mindful nature observation. Spend time in nature, a park, forest, beach, or even observing houseplants or clouds, with the specific intention of noticing self-similar, repeating patterns. Observe how tree branches mirror river deltas, how the spiral of a shell echoes the spiral of galaxies, how the veining in a leaf resembles neural networks. As you observe, reflect. How does this natural pattern, like a branching tree, reflect similar patterns in my own life, relationships, or growth process? What might the resilience, balance, or natural rhythm I'm observing teach me about navigating my current challenges? This practice does more than foster appreciation for nature. It creates a felt sense of connection to larger patterns and perspectives. When facing difficult personal situations, this broader view can transform how you relate to challenges. One practitioner noted that observing how trees bend without breaking in storms helped her develop flexibility in facing her own unexpected life changes. This contemplative practice embodies as above, so below, seeing how the same fundamental principles operate across different scales and contexts, connecting cosmic patterns to your personal journey. Take a moment to consider a persistent challenge in your external life right now. First, using as within, so without. What underlying belief, fear, or unacknowledged aspect within you might be reflected in this challenge? Now, drawing on as above, so below, what natural pattern or principle, like adaptation, cycles of growth, or interconnection, might offer guidance for navigating this situation? Finally, how might these insights combine to give you a new perspective on this challenge? We've completed a transformative journey that bridges ancient wisdom with modern application. We began with that intuitive feeling of connection between your inner and outer worlds. We traced it to the Hermetic principles that have guided seekers for centuries. We built solid bridges through the psychological understanding of the shadow and projection, and through nature's fractal patterns that demonstrate the same principle visually. Finally, we translated this understanding into practical tools you can begin using today. As the alchemist Paracelsus wisely noted, the understanding of oneself is the first step toward understanding all things. This mirror principle gives you a practical method for that understanding. The transformation this perspective offers unfolds in 3 powerful stages. First, recognition. You begin to see the connections between your inner state and outer experiences, identifying patterns and correspondences that were previously invisible. Next, integration. Using the tools we've shared, you consciously work with your shadow aspects, bringing unconscious material into awareness and reclaiming projections, leading to greater psychological wholeness. Finally, conscious participation. With this awareness and integration, you move from feeling like a passive recipient of circumstances to an active co-creator of your experience, working directly with your inner landscape to shape how you perceive, interpret, and engage with your reality. This isn't about magical control over external events. It's about something more valuable, developing the awareness that allows you to respond consciously rather than react unconsciously, to recognize patterns before they fully manifest, and to create meaning from even difficult experiences. Your journey begins now with a simple 7-day challenge. Choose just one tool that resonated most strongly with you. Commit to 5 minutes of practice each day for 1 week. Notice what patterns emerge without trying to change anything yet. After 7 days, reflect on what you've learned about your inner-outer connection. Remember, awareness always precedes transformation. The first week is about seeing clearly, not fixing or changing. This gentle approach honors the depth of this work. Share your general insights, respecting privacy, in the comments. Your discoveries might illuminate someone else's path. What patterns are you beginning to notice between your inner and outer worlds? To explore further, consider these starting points. For Jungian psychology and shadow work, Jung's Man and His Symbols offers accessible insights for fractal patterns in nature. The Hidden Geometry of Life explores these connections for Hermetic principles. The Kabbalion provides a comprehensive framework. Remember, this practice deepens over time. The connections you notice in week 1 will lead to more profound insights in month 1, and potentially life-changing awareness beyond. The universe's grand patterns, as above, so below, resonate within the landscape of your own psyche. By learning to read the reflections in the mirror of your life, truly embodying as within, so without, you reclaim an extraordinary power. The power to see yourself completely, the power to integrate your hidden aspects, the power to consciously participate in shaping your reality from the inside out. As the ancient alchemists understood, the work of transformation always begins within. As within, so without.